In the realm of Oakenhallow, where magic coursed through the very roots of the earth, Aria stood at the edge of the Whispering Lake. Her gaze was fixed on the horizon, where the sky kissed the water, and her thoughts were lost in the ripples that danced at her command. It was here, in the quiet symphony of nature, that the first whispers of the prophecy reached her ears, a call to adventure that would change her destiny forever. The ancient parchment spoke of a great calamity, a darkness that would engulf the land, and only one who bore the mark of the elemental guardian could hope to prevent it. Aria, a young elemental mage with the power to control water, knew that she was the chosen one. She knew too that she could not face this challenge alone. Aria closed her eyes, feeling the weight of responsibility settle heavily upon her slender shoulders. But then, as if in answer to her silent plea, a figure emerged from the forest, his steps as silent and graceful as those of a wildcat. Kael, a rogue with a heart of gold and a mysterious connection to the forest, had come to offer his aid. Together, they would seek out Eldrin, the ancient guardian who had slept for 1,000 years, and beg for his counsel. As they set out on their journey, Aria found herself marveling at the world around her. The forest was alive with magic, each tree and blade of grass humming with potential energy. Kael seemed to move effortlessly through the landscape, as if he were one with the forest itself. She couldn't help but wonder about his connection to the land, and what secrets he might be hiding beneath his enigmatic exterior. Their path led them deeper into the heart of the woods, and as the sun began to sink below the horizon, they found themselves in front of a massive oak tree, its trunk as wide as 3 men, its branches stretching out like great, gnarled arms. "This," Kael said solemnly, "is the tree of knowledge. It is said that those who touch its heartwood and ask a question will be given the answer they seek." He paused, looking at Aria meaningfully. "Do you wish to know more about me?" Aria nodded, her curiosity getting the better of her. Together, they climbed up into the branches of the great tree, using its thick, knotted roots as a makeshift ladder. As they reached the highest branches, they found a small, round platform that seemed to float among the leaves. There, carved into the bark of the tree, were countless symbols and runes, glowing softly with an inner light. Aria reached out and touched one of the runes, feeling its warmth seep into her skin. "What is your question?" a soft, feminine voice asked, and they turned to see a willow tree nearby, its branches swaying gently in the breeze. "Speak, and I shall tell you what I can." "I wish to know more about Kael," Aria said, her voice steady despite the awe she felt. "Who is he, and what is his connection to the forest?" As she spoke, the runes she had touched began to glow brighter, bathing them in a golden light. The willow tree considered her question for a moment and then nodded. "Very well. I can tell you this. Kael is a creature of the forest, born of the earth and the stars. He has walked these lands since before the memory of man. His heart beats in time with the trees, and his soul is as ancient and enduring as the forest itself. He is a guardian, a protector, and a guide. It is his destiny to help you on your journey, for the fate of the world rests in your hands." The rune dimmed, and the light faded from the tree's branches. Aria turned to Kael, her eyes wide with understanding. "You truly are a part of this world," she breathed, "and your role in all of this is much greater than you let on." Kael met her gaze without flinching. "I have always done what I believe to be right, Aria," he said softly. "I will continue to do so, no matter where the path may lead us." And with that, they left the tree of knowledge behind them, their footsteps once again lost in the whispering leaves. As they journeyed deeper into the forest, Kael began to share more of his stories with Aria. He told her of the great battles he had fought against dark forces that sought to destroy the balance of nature, and of the heroes and villains who had shaped the history of their world. He spoke of the ancient rituals and ceremonies that kept the forest alive, and of the powerful magic that coursed through its veins. And as she listened, Aria felt a deep connection forming between them, a bond that went beyond mere friendship. One night, as they camped beneath the stars, Kael pulled out a small wooden flute carved from the burl of an apple tree. The notes it produced were haunting and ethereal, seeming to echo through the trees and reach the very heavens. As they sat by the fire, Aria closed her eyes and let the music wash over her, feeling the weight of the world slip away, if only for a moment. When Kael finished, he looked at her with an expression that she couldn't quite decipher, and she wondered what thoughts and feelings lay hidden behind those enigmatic eyes. The days turned into weeks, as they journeyed ever onward. They faced countless dangers along the way, from ferocious beasts to treacherous terrain, but Kael's strength and wisdom saw them through every trial. And with each challenge they overcame, Aria felt a newfound sense of purpose and determination growing within her. She knew that she was meant to be here, meant to face these trials alongside Kael, and meant to shape the fate of their world. Finally, after months of travel, they reached their destination, the ancient ruins of a long-forgotten city nestled in the heart of the forest. The air was thick with a sense of anticipation and foreboding as they approached the crumbling walls and overgrown gardens. As they stepped through the broken gates, Kael took Aria's hand in his, their fingers intertwining as if they had been meant to be together all along. And as they walked side by side into the forgotten city, Aria could feel the weight of the world upon her shoulders, the burden of destiny bearing down upon her. But she also felt a sense of hope and a deep, abiding love for the guardian who had guided her here. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, and they would either save their world or perish trying. The ruined city stretched out before them, its crumbling towers and overgrown pathways a testament to the passing of time and the inevitability of decay. Kael led them through the winding streets, his steps sure and steady, his eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of danger. As they walked, Aria couldn't help but marvel at the strength and resilience of the man who had become her friend, her ally, and perhaps even something more. She knew that their journey was far from over, but she also knew that with Kael by her side, she could face anything the world might throw at them. And so, together, they ventured forth into the forgotten city, their hearts full of courage and their spirits unbroken. The fate of the world rested upon their shoulders, and they would either rise to the challenge or be crushed beneath its weight. The choice was theirs, and they would make it together. As they wandered deeper into the city, they came across an ancient temple, its once shining walls now coated in moss and vines. The air within was thick with an eerie silence, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves or the hoot of an owl. Kael led Aria through the massive doors, his hand resting lightly upon the hilt of his sword, ready for whatever dangers might lie ahead. The temple's interior was a labyrinth of passageways and chambers, each more ornate and mysterious than the last. As they explored, Aria couldn't help but marvel at the intricate carvings that adorned the walls, depicting scenes of long-forgotten battles and rituals. She wondered what secrets these ancient stones held, and if they would ever unlock them. Suddenly, Kael paused before a massive door, its surface carved with symbols that seemed to glow with an inner light. He turned to Aria, his expression grave. "This is it, Aria. Beyond this door lies the heart of the forest, and the key to restoring balance. But we must be cautious. The guardian who guards this place is fierce, and will not be easily defeated." Aria swallowed hard, her heart racing in her chest. "Then let's do this, Kael," she said, steeling herself for the battle to come. "Together, we can face anything." And with that, they stepped forward, drawing their weapons and preparing for the fight of their lives. The guardian within the chamber was indeed fierce, its massive form towering over them like a living mountain. Its skin was the color of ancient oak, its muscles corded and strong, and its eyes glowed with an unearthly light. It let out a thunderous roar that echoed through the temple, shaking the very foundations of the city. Kael did not flinch. Instead, he met the creature's gaze unblinking, his sword held steady. "We come in peace," he said, his voice strong and true. "We mean you no harm. We seek only to restore balance to the forest." The guardian studied them for a long moment, its expression unreadable. Then, slowly, it lowered its massive head, its great horns scraping against the ground. "So few truly understand," it rumbled. "You are welcome here, Kael, son of Oak and Aria, daughter of Ash. You have proven yourselves worthy." As the guardian spoke, Aria felt a shiver run down her spine. This creature was ancient beyond reckoning, its wisdom and power beyond anything she could have imagined. And yet, it spoke to them as if they were old friends, as if they had known each other for lifetimes. Kael bowed his head in respect. "Thank you, Ancient One. We ask only that you aid us in our quest. The fate of the forest and all who dwell within it rests in your hands." The guardian's gaze turned to Aria, its eyes warm and kind. "And so it lies in yours, my child. You have been chosen for this task, and you have proven yourself ready. But know this, the path ahead will not be easy. There will be trials and tests, doubts and fears. But you must persevere, for the fate of us all hangs in the balance." Aria felt tears well up in her eyes as she listened to the creature's words. She reached out and took Kael's hand, squeezing it tightly. "I won't let you down," she whispered. "I won't." And with that, the guardian of the forest led them deeper into the heart of the temple, guiding them toward the key that would restore balance to the world. The path they followed was treacherous, winding its way through caverns carved from the very substance of the earth itself. Great crystals jutted from the walls, their facets catching the flickering light of torches that the guardian had summoned from the darkness. The air grew cooler and damper as they descended, and the sounds of the forest faded into the distance. Eventually, they emerged into a vast chamber, its walls lined with shelves stacked high with ancient scrolls and artifacts. At the center of the room, suspended above a pool of glowing water, hung a great crystal, its surface sparkling with a light that seemed to emanate from within. The guardian turned to face them, its expression solemn. "This is the heart of the forest, the key to restoring balance. You must each take a step forward and place a hand upon the crystal. It will reveal to you a vision of the future, one that you must work together to bring about." Kael and Aria exchanged glances, their hearts racing with anticipation and fear. Together, they stepped forward, reaching out to touch the crystal. As their fingers made contact with the cool surface, the world seemed to fall away, and they were plunged into a whirlwind of images and sounds that threatened to overwhelm their senses. They saw the forest in its full glory, teeming with life and vibrant with energy. They saw the city, its citizens living in harmony with the natural world. They saw the people of Oak and Ash, their differences forgotten in the face of a common purpose. And they saw themselves, leading this charge, guiding their people toward a future of peace and understanding. As the vision faded, the guardian spoke again, its voice gentle and reassuring. "You have seen the future that is possible, my children. Now, you must go forth and make it a reality. The path will not be easy, but know that you are not alone. The spirits of the forest and the ancestors of Oak and Ash watch over you and will aid you in your time of need." Kael and Aria nodded, their resolve steeled. Together, they turned and left the chamber, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead and restore balance to the world. As they retraced their steps through the labyrinthine tunnels, the guardian of the forest remained with them, its presence a comfort and a reassurance. They spoke of their hopes and fears, their plans and strategies, and the guardian listened, offering guidance and advice when asked. Finally, they emerged from the depths of the temple and back into the brightness of the forest. The air was cool and sweet, and the sounds of birdsong and rustling leaves filled their ears. They stood before the great oak tree, its massive trunk a testament to the strength and resilience of nature. "The time has come," the guardian said, its voice soft and solemn. "You must now share what you have seen and learned with your people and lead them toward a brighter future. Remember, the road will be difficult, and there will be those who will oppose you. But do not lose heart. You have the strength and the courage to guide your people home." Kael and Aria clasped hands once more, their grip firm and unyielding. With the guardian watching over them, they stepped forward, ready to face the challenges that lay ahead and bring their people together. They had seen the vision of a better world, and now it was up to them to make it a reality. As they approached the great oak tree, they could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down upon them. But they also felt a sense of purpose and determination, a fire burning bright within them that would not be extinguished. They would not let their people down. With the guardian leading the way, they made their way back to the encampment where the leaders of Oak and Ash were gathered, deep in discussion. The moment they stepped into the clearing, every eye turned towards them, expectant and curious. Kael took a deep breath, steeling his resolve, before addressing the group. "My friends, my brothers and sisters," he began, his voice strong and clear. "I come before you today with a vision of a brighter future, one where we put aside our differences and work together for the greater good. I have seen it, and so has Aria." He gestured to her, standing at his side. "We have seen the path that leads us back to harmony with the world, and we are committed to following it, no matter the cost." There was a murmur among the crowd, some nodding in agreement, others looking skeptical. Aria stepped forward, her voice steady and determined. "The guardian of the forest has shown us the way, and we cannot ignore its wisdom. We must come together, now more than ever, and work towards a future where we can all live in peace and prosperity. It will not be easy, but with your help, we can make it happen." The crowd grew silent as Aria spoke, her words resonating deeply within them. And then, slowly at first, but with gathering force, they began to murmur their agreement, their voices rising in unison. The leaders of Oak and Ash exchanged glances, their expressions shifting from doubt to hope. It seemed that the time for change had come. The guardian of the forest, watching from the shadows of the trees, smiled to itself. As it had for countless generations, it had seen the potential within these young leaders, and it was heartening to see them finally come together. The crowd grew more excited, their voices rising in a cacophony of agreement and hope. The leaders of Oak and Ash exchanged meaningful glances, their expressions shifting from doubt to determination. They knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but with Kael and Aria at the helm, they felt a newfound sense of purpose and unity. As the discussion continued, the guardian of the forest stepped forward, its massive form casting a shadow over the gathering. It spoke, its voice deep and resonant, carrying the weight of wisdom born of centuries spent tending to the forest. "You have taken the first step, my children," it said, "but the journey has only just begun. You must remember that your task is not merely to unite yourselves, but to bring your people with you. The path ahead will be fraught with danger, and there will be those who will try to turn you from your course. But know this, you are not alone. The spirits of the forest watch over you, and I, your guardian, will always be at your side." Kael and Aria listened intently, their hearts full of gratitude for the guardian's guidance. They nodded solemnly, understanding the gravity of their situation. As the sun began to sink below the horizon, casting a warm golden light across the encampment, they turned to face their people. Together, they raised their voices, speaking of their vision for a brighter future, one where Oak and Ash would stand united, strong and proud, side by side. The crowd fell silent, hanging on every word. They saw the determination in Kael's eyes, the fierce resolve in Aria's heart, and they felt it within themselves as well. They were ready. They were willing. They were ready to follow their leaders into the uncertain future, to face whatever challenges lay ahead, and to build a new world together. As the last rays of sunlight faded from the sky, Kael and Aria stood before their people, their hands clasped tightly, their hearts filled with hope. They had faced the challenges of the past and emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to forge a new path forward. Around them, the people of Oak and Ash gathered, their faces lit by the dancing flames of 100 campfires, their eyes shining with anticipation and a fierce sense of purpose. The stars began to twinkle in the velvet sky, casting a gentle, otherworldly glow over the encampment. Kael and Aria looked into each other's eyes, silently communicating their deepest hopes and fears. They knew that the road ahead would not be easy, that there would be setbacks and heartache along the way. But they also knew that they were not alone, that they had each other, and that they had the love and support of their people. With a nod of understanding, they turned back to the crowd, their voices steady and strong. "Tonight, we stand together as one," Kael declared, his voice carrying across the gathered throng. "Tomorrow, we will begin the long and difficult journey back to harmony with the world. But know this, we will not walk that path alone. The spirits of the forest and our guardian will always be with us, guiding us and protecting us. Together, we will find our way back to peace and prosperity." Aria took up the words where Kael left off, her voice soft and resonant. "We must remember that the path we choose is not only for ourselves, but for future generations. We must be mindful of our actions and our words, for they will echo through the ages. We must strive for unity, for understanding, and for compassion. Only then can we hope to build a world where all of our children can thrive and prosper." As the last words faded from Aria's lips, a collective sigh swept through the crowd. There was a sense of determination in the air, of a people finally ready to confront their past and forge a new path forward. The wind picked up, rustling through the leaves of the ancient trees, as if the very spirits of Oak and Ash were whispering their approval. Kael and Aria stood side by side, their hands clasped together, their eyes locked on the faces of their people. They could see the fear and uncertainty in some of the expressions, the doubt and disbelief in others. But there was also hope and courage and a burning desire to make things right. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe to stay updated with our latest stories, give us a like if you want to see more, and drop a comment below to let us know your thoughts.